Have you ever felt like you're caught in a paradox? One minute she's showering you with love, talking about your future together, and the next it's like you don't even exist. Frustrating, right? It's as if she's testing you, pulling back just to see how you'll react. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's both confusing and all too common. Why does she love you deeply, yet seem to ignore you so often? If you've been in a situation where her words and actions just don't match up, this video is for you. We're going to break down the psychology behind this behavior and how to respond with the calm, steady mindset of a Stoic. Ready to navigate these mixed signals? Let's jump in. Number 1. A misalignment of expectations. How can someone who loves you so much sometimes seem so distant, so unresponsive? It's easy to start doubting her feelings, or even your relationship as a whole. But before you let those doubts spiral, consider this. What if the problem isn't her feelings, but how you both express love? It might be a clash of love languages. For example, let's say you're someone who thrives on verbal affirmations. For you, love feels real when she says, "I miss you," or sends sweet texts throughout the day. These little check-ins give you a sense of connection and reassurance. But for her, love might look different. Maybe she doesn't see the need to send texts constantly because her love language is more about actions. She could be the type who shows love through thoughtful gestures, planning a special date, cooking your favorite meal, or doing something nice for you without expecting anything in return. When your love languages don't align, it's easy to misinterpret her silence as neglect or indifference, when in reality she's simply speaking a different dialect of love. Picture this. You send her a sweet good morning text, waiting for a cute reply. Hours go by with nothing. Meanwhile, she's out picking up your favorite snacks for a movie night she's planned for the weekend. In her mind, she's thinking about you all day and showing affection through actions. But in your mind, her silence feels like rejection. You feel ignored, while she feels like she's expressing her love in a meaningful way. We often fall into the trap of expecting our partner to love us the way we want. If you need frequent communication, you might expect her to mirror that. But here's the thing. Expectations can be a double-edged sword. When she doesn't meet your needs, it's easy to feel unloved or dismissed. This is where stoicism can make a big difference. Epictetus said, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Instead of interpreting her silence as disinterest, try to see it for what it is, a different way of showing love. Think of love languages as a bridge. You're standing on one side, speaking the language of verbal affirmations, while she's on the other side, speaking through actions. If neither of you is willing to meet halfway, you'll stay disconnected. But if you both take a step toward each other, you'll find a deeper understanding. So next time she seems distant, instead of reacting with frustration, ask her about her day. Notice the little things she's done for you. Maybe she's been thinking about you all along, just not in the way you expected. Relationships are about growth, not perfection. When you embrace her love language instead of resisting it, you strengthen your bond and create a deeper peace within yourself. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom in relationships. Focus on what you can control, your own thoughts and responses, and let go of the need to mold her into your ideal version. Number 2, valuing convenience over connection. In today's fast-paced world, many people prioritize convenience over building a meaningful relationship. If she's used to having things on her terms, she might reach out when she's lonely, bored, or needs something from you. But when it's your turn to seek her time, she suddenly becomes too busy or uninterested. It's not always malicious. It could just mean she's not as invested as you are. She enjoys the attention and support you provide, but isn't willing to put in the effort to nurture a truly reciprocal bond. Think back to a time when she reached out with a sweet message asking about your day. It felt special, like she genuinely cared. But when you tried to make plans, she either ignored your text or gave you a vague response like, "I'll let you know," only to never follow up. This cycle might have repeated itself. She's warm and engaging when it suits her, but distant when you need her to be consistent. It feels like she's only half in, valuing the convenience of your availability without truly investing in a deeper connection. It's tempting to try to explain yourself to her, show her how much effort you're putting in and why it's worth it for her to return that same effort. But here's where Epictetus's advice becomes key. Don't explain your philosophy, live it. Instead of convincing her of your worth, show her through your actions that you respect yourself enough to walk away if her priorities don't align with yours. This doesn't mean you have to be cold or cut her off without explanation. It means standing firm in your values and deciding what kind of relationship you want. If you're seeking depth, consistency, and genuine effort, don't settle for someone who only gives you attention when it's convenient. The key is setting clear boundaries without falling into a cycle of resentment. If she only reaches out on her terms and isn't willing to meet you halfway, it's time to take a step back and ask yourself what you truly want. Live by your own standards, not hers. When you start living by your own philosophy, rather than trying to explain it, you send a clear message, not just to her, but to yourself. You're showing that you won't settle for a relationship based on convenience. You want a true partnership, where both people invest and show up consistently. By embodying your values, you naturally filter out those who aren't aligned with your vision of a healthy relationship. In the end, relationships are about more than convenience. They're about showing up for each other, even when it's not easy or perfectly timed. So if she's only reaching out when it suits her, take a step back, reflect on what you truly want, and live by your values. Set boundaries, respect yourself, and walk away if her actions don't align with your vision of a healthy relationship. Remember Epictetus's wisdom. Don't just speak your philosophy, live it, embody it, be the person who values genuine connection over fleeting moments of convenience. When you live by this mindset, you'll naturally attract partners who share your priorities and are willing to put in the same level of effort. And that's the kind of relationship that's truly worth waiting for. Before we dive into the next point, let's pause for a moment. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship where someone only seems to value you when it's convenient for them, you're not alone. It's a tough realization, but also an opportunity for growth. Now, I'd love to hear your stories. Have you ever felt like an option instead of a priority? Drop a comment below or type, "I deserve consistency." Your experiences and support mean a lot. Number 3, testing your commitment. It might sound like a game, but it's not always about playing mind tricks. For many women, especially those who've been hurt before, creating a little distance can be a way to seek reassurance. It's her way of testing whether you're truly invested or if you'll disappear when things get tough. In her mind, if you genuinely care, you'll stay consistent even when she pulls back. Before you jump to conclusions or get frustrated, think about what might be driving her actions. Maybe she's been hurt in the past by someone who promised to stay but left at the first sign of trouble. Or maybe she's dealing with insecurities about whether your feelings are as deep as hers. In those moments of doubt, instead of confronting you head-on, she might pull away to observe your reaction. Will you remain steady, or will you retreat as well, confirming her worst fears? Imagine this. You've been dating for a while, everything's going great. And then, out of nowhere, she becomes distant. Her replies are slow, and she's less eager to make plans. It feels like she's testing you, and in some ways, she is. She's asking herself, will he still be here if I pull back a bit? Is his interest genuine, or is he only here for the easy parts? Her silence isn't about losing interest. It's about seeing if you'll stay steady even when things aren't perfect. It's easy to react emotionally, sending a bunch of texts asking if something's wrong, demanding an explanation for her sudden distance. But here's a lesson from Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Now, she's not your enemy, but the wisdom still applies. Instead of mirroring her withdrawal or reacting with frustration, stay calm and assured. Your steady presence and consistent behavior speak volumes. It shows her that you're not swayed by the ups and downs, and that your commitment isn't based on fleeting emotions. One of the best things you can do during this testing phase is to be consistent. It's easy to show up when everything's smooth, but your steady presence during tough times is what really shows your commitment. That doesn't mean chasing after her or sacrificing your own needs to prove your love. It means small, meaningful gestures. Sending her a simple message like, "I've missed talking to you. I hope everything's okay. I'm here when you're ready to talk." Then let her come to you on her own time. This calm, balanced approach demonstrates that you're not swayed by her tests. You're here because you genuinely care, not because you need constant reassurance. In the end, her testing your commitment isn't about manipulation. It's often rooted in her own insecurities and need for reassurance. By remaining consistent, calm, and true to yourself, you show her that your love isn't conditional or based on fleeting emotions. You're there for the real, messy journey of building something lasting. If she values you, she'll recognize the strength in your patience and the security in your steady presence. And when she's ready, she'll come back. Not because you chased her, but because you showed her that you're the calm in her storm, the constant she's been searching for. Number 4. Avoidance of vulnerability. For many women, opening up emotionally feels like stepping onto thin ice. If she's been hurt before, whether through betrayal, a breakup, or painful disappointment, she might instinctively build walls to protect herself. Her distance isn't a sign that she's lost interest. It's a defense mechanism, a way of guarding her heart from further pain. To understand why she might pull away, picture a situation where she's been let down in the past. Perhaps she trusted someone who promised to stay, but vanished when she needed them most. Or maybe she shared something deeply personal with someone only to have that trust broken. These experiences leave scars that make vulnerability feel risky. So when she starts to open up to you, her instinct might be to retreat. Her silence is her way of saying, "I'm afraid of getting hurt again." Think back to a time when you had a deep, meaningful conversation. Maybe she opened up about something personal, sharing a story from her past, or expressing a fear she's been holding on to. You felt closer than ever, but then something changed. She became distant, didn't respond as quickly, or seemed less engaged. It's not that she regretted opening up, it's that she's now dealing with the vulnerability that comes with sharing her heart. Vulnerability is like handing someone a fragile piece of yourself, and for her, that's a risk she's still learning to take. In these moments, it's easy to feel frustrated or take her withdrawal personally. You might wonder, why is she shutting me out when I'm just trying to get closer? But here's a key lesson from Epictetus. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Decide what kind of partner you want to be. Someone who demands constant openness, or someone who provides a safe, supportive space for her to open up on her own terms. Instead of pushing her to be vulnerable or questioning her silence, be patient. Show her, through your actions, that you're not here to rush her healing or force her into emotional exposure. You're here to listen, to understand, and to support her, even if it takes time for her to fully trust you. Rather than trying to fix her or solve her emotional struggles, focus on maintaining your own inner peace. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, and continue building your life outside of the relationship. When you do this, you create a safe environment where she feels comfortable taking emotional risks at her own pace. maintain your balance in the relationship. This not only keeps you grounded, but also demonstrates that you're secure enough to give her space without becoming insecure yourself. As Seneca wisely said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." In relationships, it's crucial to know what kind of partner you want to be and align your actions with that vision. If your goal is to be a supportive and understanding partner, then practice patience, even when it's tough. Understand that vulnerability takes time, especially for someone who's been hurt before. Embrace the uncertainty and trust that if your bond is real, it will endure through moments of silence and distance. So, when she seems distant, don't take it personally. Don't rush to fix things. Instead, be the calm in her storm. Show her that you're not afraid of her walls, and that you're willing to patiently wait until she feels safe enough to open up. This kind of steady, patient love can break through even the toughest defenses. When she finally does open up, it will be because she knows she's found someone who isn't rushing her heart, but is willing to earn it, slowly and respectfully. If this resonates with you, remember, your experiences matter too. We all have moments of doubt, wondering why she's pulling away or why there's silence. But it's in these vulnerable spaces that true connection can flourish. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt her distance? Or maybe you've been the one building walls? Share your story in the comments below. Let's support each other in navigating these emotional waters with patience and empathy. Your insights could be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Number 5. The push-pull dynamic emotions can be overwhelming, especially when they're deep and all-consuming. For some women, the more deeply they fall in love, the more they feel the need to step back and catch their breath. It's not that they don't want the relationship, but the intensity of their feelings can feel overwhelming, and they need time to reflect and ensure they're not losing themselves in the process. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, thrilling but a bit terrifying. Imagine you've just spent an amazing weekend together. You felt incredibly close, connected in a way that seemed unbreakable. But as the week begins, she suddenly becomes distant. Her texts slow down, and when she does reply, her responses feel short and unenthusiastic. You might panic, wondering, did I do something wrong? But what's actually happening is that she's overwhelmed by the connection and is pulling back. Not because she doesn't care, but because she needs time to process her feelings. This is where Stoic wisdom can offer guidance. Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." Your peace and sense of self shouldn't depend on the fluctuating emotions of others. Her pulling back might trigger insecurities, but this is an opportunity to strengthen your own inner resilience. Instead of reacting with fear or anxiety, use this time to focus on yourself, grounding your emotions and finding stability within. Relationships, like the ocean, have tides. They ebb and flow, bringing moments of intense closeness and moments of distance. The key is not to panic during the low tide. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. Embrace the push-pull dynamic as part of the natural rhythm of your relationship. Instead of trying to control or resist it, trust that what's meant to be will unfold in its own time. When she pulls back, don't let it destabilize you. Understand that her need for space is part of her emotional process, not a rejection of you. Trust that if the connection is real, she'll return when she's ready, and your calm, steady presence will make her feel secure. This is the essence of Stoic love, offering a safe harbor without demanding immediate answers or forcing vulnerability. Your ability to stay centered even when she's pulling away will strengthen your bond. Be the calm, steady force she can rely on, not just when things are easy, but when the emotional tides shift. This kind of presence can transform a fleeting romance into a lasting partnership. When she does return, it will be because she felt your unwavering strength and realized she's found something rare. a love built on patience, respect, and an unconquerable mind. Number 6. Fear of losing independence. For many women, love is both a beautiful and daunting experience. The closer they get to you, the more they feel the need to protect their sense of self. It's a paradox that can leave you feeling confused when, in reality, she's just trying to hold on to her freedom. Let's dive into this. Imagine a woman who's spent years building her own life, her career, her hobbies, her friendships. She's used to calling the shots, setting her own schedule, and making decisions without consulting anyone. Falling in love with you might be exhilarating, but it also stirs up a hidden fear. The fear of becoming dependent or losing her autonomy. It's not that she loves you less, it's just that the depth of her feelings for you can make her crave space. When she pulls back or becomes distant, it's her way of creating some distance to reassure herself that she hasn't lost control of her life. Think back to a time when she was all in, sending sweet messages, making plans, and showing affection. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, she became distant. Maybe she stopped texting as often or seemed less eager to make plans. It's easy to think this means her feelings have faded, but in reality, she may be grappling with the loss of her independence. If she's used to spending her weekends alone or with friends, and suddenly she's spending all her time with you, it can feel like her life is changing too quickly. Her distance isn't about pushing you away. It's about pulling herself back together. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." The same principle applies here. Instead of reacting with insecurity or trying to close the gap immediately, see this as an opportunity to practice patience and self-control. Give her the space she needs without resentment. This isn't about playing games or intentionally creating distance. It's about respecting her need for autonomy and showing her that you are secure in yourself. A stoic approach means focusing on what you can control, your own response and growth, rather than trying to control her actions. When she pulls back, the worst thing you can do is chase her or bombard her with questions like, "Why are you ignoring me?" Instead, take a deep breath and embrace the moment. Use this time to nurture your own individuality, whether it's through hobbies, friends, or simply enjoying your own company. By doing so, you show her that you're not dependent on her for your own fulfillment, and you respect her need for space. Take the time to focus on doing things you love, reconnecting with your friends, and pursuing your personal goals. This doesn't mean you care any less about her, it simply shows that you value your independence as much as she values hers. When she sees that you're not panicking or demanding her attention, it will only deepen her trust in you. By giving her the space to maintain her autonomy, you allow the relationship to breathe and grow naturally. This way, when she returns, it will be because she genuinely wants to, not out of obligation, but from appreciation for the space you've given her while she reconnects with herself. Use this time to dive into your own passions, whether it's hitting the gym, tackling a personal project, or simply enjoying time with friends. Show her that you have a fulfilling life outside of the relationship. When she sees you thriving independently, it reassures her that she can have both love and freedom without sacrificing one for the other. The next time she seems distant, don't jump to conclusions or let fear drive your actions. Understand that her pulling away might simply be her way of preserving a piece of herself. Respect that need, give her space, and use this time to focus on your own growth. By doing so, you not only honor her need for independence, but also reinforce your own self-worth. And that's the kind of confidence that will bring her back. Not because she needs you, but because she chooses you, knowing that you understand the delicate balance between love and freedom. Before we dive into the next reason she might be pulling away, I'd love your support. If you're finding value in this content, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people who may need this message. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced a moment where giving space actually brought you closer? Share your stories in the comments or type, "Patience is my strength," if you're ready to embrace a stoic approach in your relationships. Your engagement means a lot. Number 7. Struggling with inner battles. Sometimes, the person you care about the most is battling a storm that you can't see. Her distance, her seeming indifference, isn't a sign of a lack of love. It's her way of dealing with her own personal struggles that she may not be ready to share. This isn't rejection, it's survival. We often assume that love means constant communication and sharing everything. But for many people, especially when they're dealing with stress, family issues, or deep-rooted self-doubt, silence becomes a shield. It's her way of protecting you from her inner turmoil, or simply a coping mechanism to sort through her thoughts without the added pressure of explaining herself. Think back to a time when she was all in, always texting you, making plans, showing affection. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, she pulls back. Maybe she's dealing with a tough situation at work, or there's family tension she's struggling to manage. Perhaps she's wrestling with her self-esteem or battling anxiety, making it hard for her to connect emotionally. In moments like these, her mind becomes a battlefield, and the last thing she can handle is the responsibility of reassuring you when she's struggling to reassure herself. Let's say she's going through a rough patch and isn't as present as she used to be. Instead of withdrawing yourself out of frustration, focus on your own growth. Maybe you start a new project, hit the gym more often, or spend time with friends you haven't seen in a while. This isn't about ignoring her or pretending you don't care. It's about maintaining your own happiness so that when she's ready to return, you're not drained or resentful. You're still the strong, supportive partner she fell in love with. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The stories you tell yourself about her silence, thinking she's losing interest or pushing you away on purpose, are likely far worse than the reality of what she's going through. She might just be overwhelmed, anxious, or needing time to sort through her own emotions. Your role isn't to fix her problems or demand explanations. It's to offer quiet support and understanding, trusting that she'll come back when she's ready. Every relationship experiences phases of closeness and distance. The key is not to panic when things aren't perfect. Instead, embrace the Stoic principle of acceptance. Marcus Aurelius taught us to accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. Accept the temporary distance as part of the natural ebb and flow of your relationship. Use this time to practice patience, empathy, and emotional maturity. When she pulls back, don't let it destabilize you. Understand that her silence could be a sign that she's battling something bigger than you can see. Trust that your love isn't so fragile that it will break under a little distance. When you approach her silence with calm and steady strength, you give her the space to heal, while showing her that your love is a safe haven, one that isn't shaken by life's storms. This kind of unwavering support, rooted in inner strength and understanding, is what creates lasting bonds. So when her personal challenges pull her away, don't chase her in panic. Stand firm, be patient, and focus on your own growth. If she truly values you, she'll return, not because she's obligated to, but because she feels the calm, secure presence you've offered. And that's a love that can withstand any storm. Number 8. The fear of losing control. For someone who's used to being in control of their own feelings, falling in love can feel like stepping into a powerful current that pulls them in deeper than they expected. It's thrilling, yes, but also a bit terrifying. When she feels overwhelmed by her emotions, she might instinctively retreat, pulling away from you, not because she doesn't care, but because she's trying to regain her emotional balance. Let's explore why she might feel the need to pull away. If she's someone who values control and self-sufficiency, deep emotions can make her feel exposed and vulnerable. She's accustomed to managing her feelings on her own, and the depth of her connection with you might feel like it's threatening that sense of control. By pulling away, she's creating a buffer, an opportunity to process her emotions without the added pressure of your expectations or the intensity of the relationship. The worst thing you can do when she pulls back is react out of fear or insecurity. If you start chasing her or demanding to know what's wrong, you might unintentionally reinforce her fear of losing control. Instead, take a step back yourself. Give her the space she needs and focus on maintaining your own peace and self-worth. A simple, calm message like, "I noticed you've been a bit quiet, just wanted you to know I'm here if you need me," can show her you're supportive without adding pressure. Imagine she's been distant for a few days, and you're tempted to send multiple texts asking if everything's okay. This time, you decide to handle it differently. You send one thoughtful message, then go about your day focusing on your own activities, whether it's going to the gym, working on a project, or hanging out with friends. This not only respects her need for space, but it also shows emotional maturity and stability. You're not letting her temporary distance throw you off balance. At the end of the day, relationships are about navigating the tides of emotion together. There will be times when her fear of losing control causes her to retreat into silence, but this isn't a reflection of your worth. It's simply a sign that she's grappling with her emotions and trying to process the intensity of the connection. Your role isn't to chase her or demand answers. It's to remain strong, confident in your emotional stability. By embodying Stoic principles of patience, acceptance, and self-control, you show her that you aren't easily shaken by her temporary withdrawal. You become the steady force she can rely on, the rock she can lean on when her emotions feel like a storm. When she feels balanced enough to return, she'll know she has found a partner who can handle deep connection with calm, who meets her fear with understanding and her silence with patience. That's the kind of love built on respect and emotional strength. Number 9. The hard truth, a lack of true interest. This is the tough conversation no one wants to have. The moment you have to face the possibility that her silence or growing distance might mean something painful. You've tried to rationalize her behavior, telling yourself she's just busy, stressed, or needs space. But deep down, there's a nagging feeling that her interest isn't what it used to be. It's a hard pill to swallow, but sometimes her withdrawal is a sign that her feelings have changed, and she's starting to consider other options. As difficult as this realization is, it's also an opportunity. A chance for you to step back, breathe, and assess the relationship with clarity and honesty. It's about recognizing when her actions are revealing a truth her words never will. She might not be as invested anymore. The spark might have faded, or she may have realized the relationship isn't fulfilling her in the way she expected. Perhaps someone else has caught her attention, or maybe she's simply not feeling the emotional connection she once did. Her behavior starts to shift. She responds less, her messages get colder, and she seems less eager to spend time with you. It's like she's emotionally drifting away, even if she hasn't explicitly said so yet. This is where Stoicism can offer valuable guidance. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you allow her disinterest to dominate your thoughts, it will chip away at your self-esteem. You might start questioning your worth, wondering what you did wrong, or why you weren't enough for her. But the truth is, her changing feelings are not a reflection of your value. People grow, change, and sometimes drift apart. It's just a reality of life and relationships. Instead of letting her fading interest affect your perception of yourself, Use this moment to reaffirm your worth. Remind yourself of your values, your strengths, and what you bring to the table. If she's losing interest, it's not because you're lacking. It's because the connection no longer aligns. Your dignity lies in recognizing this and choosing to move forward with grace, rather than holding on to something that no longer serves you. By accepting the reality of her disinterest without trying to force it, you demonstrate deep inner strength. You show that your worth isn't determined by whether someone chooses you or not. It's defined by how you respond, by the standards you set for yourself, and by how gracefully you move forward. When you stop clinging to what's slipping away, you free yourself to find a connection that's genuine and mutual. You become someone who doesn't settle for half-hearted affection, but seeks out a love that's real, committed, and reciprocal. And that's the kind of love story worth waiting for. One built on shared values, mutual respect, and unwavering connection. So if her distance signals a lack of true interest, accept it for what it is. Move forward with dignity, knowing you deserve someone who is as invested in you as you are in them. Trust that by letting go, you're making space for something far more aligned with the kind of relationship you truly want. We've covered a lot today, and I know it wasn't easy to hear. But remember, these insights are here to help you see your relationships clearly and make choices that honor your self-worth. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others, but we can control how we respond. Here's my challenge to you. If you found yourself in any of these situations, take a step back and focus on your own growth. Drop an affirmation in the comments. I stand strong. Declare that you're prioritizing your well-being. If you found this video helpful, please like it, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more empowering content. Remember, you deserve someone who values you just as much as you value them. Stay strong, stay stoic, and I'll see you in the next video.